we are in a power struggle. Aaron Rodgers intentionally leaked through his representation that he was not happy with Green Bay and he wanted out on the day of the draft, Thursday of last week. That was not an accident that story came out that day. Aaron Rodgers was hoping to let everyone else in the NFL know and put an insane amount of pressure onto the Packers as it pertains to his relationship with them going forward. And in particular, I think what he wants to do is force a trade. And not only does he want to force a trade, he wants to force a trade to a team that he wants to go play for. I think that team is the Broncos. I'll explain why as we move on throughout this discussion. But overall, I think you have to assess both sides of this scenario right now. We talked a lot about this with Deshaun Watson, and I'm going to talk about Deshaun Watson a little bit later in the program because I think the decision to draft Davis Mills by the Texans was one of the most telling draft picks that happened in terms of the larger context of issues in the entirety of the NFL draft. But Aaron Rodgers has been furious ever since the Green Bay Packers drafted Jordan Love. He hasn't publicly been furious. He has internalized all of that anger because the drafting of Jordan Love in the first round was, and this is still wild to me, the only offensive talent that the Green Bay Packers have taken with their first pick in 9 of the last 10 years in the draft. Everybody else has been defense. They went and got one guy on the offensive side of the ball as their first pick, and it happens to be the guy to replace Aaron Rodgers. So I think what the Packers have done is they have not valued highly enough Aaron Rodgers' talent. Basically, since he won the Super Bowl for the Packers, over the last decade, the Packers have chosen to build on the defensive side of the ball first, taking for granted, I think, Aaron Rodgers' overall talent, because I think they believe truthfully that Aaron Rodgers can make the talent around him so much better that they can fill in a lot of lower round talent and the offense will still be incredible because Aaron Rodgers is just that much of a wizard with the ball in his hand. I don't know that the Packers could have motivated Aaron Rodgers any more than they did by taking Jordan Love in the first round. But for a year, Aaron Rodgers stewed over that pick and how angry he was about it. And if the Packers had gone on and they had won the Super Bowl, I think maybe Aaron Rodgers might have possibly gotten over it a little bit more. But when you lose the NFC Championship game and you do it in an excruciatingly close fashion, I still think they should have gone for 4 on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. Then you look around and say, man, this was a very fine line that separated the Packers from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you think just maybe if the Packers had had one more first-round pick that they might have been in a better spot to win that game than they did by having a backup quarterback who never played all season long as their first-round pick? I think that's a fair position that Aaron Rodgers could adopt. I also think that Aaron Rodgers is a fairly cerebral guy. And there are reports that he is unhappy with the management decisions that have been made with the Green Bay Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers believes that he's as good of a GM as the Packer GM is. And I think he believes, whether you agree with him or not, that he's as good of a play caller and offensive playmaker as anybody who is calling plays for the Green Bay Packers. In other words, I think that Aaron Rodgers believes he can run the offensive side of the ball and make decisions on that side of the ball better than a lot of his bosses. That's not a good position for the Green Bay Packers to be in. And so I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, what this is really about is a power struggle. Aaron Rodgers believes that he is undervalued, that he was disrespected by the Packers over the last 10 drafts, but in particular over what happened in the 2020 draft. And remember, the Packers went and took another defensive back in the first round just on Thursday. Now they added a couple of offensive playmakers for him later in the draft. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is ever going to play in Green Bay again. And I think if the Packers were trying to persuade him to play in Green Bay ever again, the only way they could do it is by getting rid of Jordan Love and signing Aaron Rodgers to a highest paid contract that has ever existed for any quarterback ever. And I'm not even sure that would work. But I think Green Bay Packer management has to go hat in hand back to Aaron Rodgers. I think they have to apologize for ever drafting Jordan Love, and I think they have to sign him to the highest paid contract that has ever existed in the history of the NFL. Because I believe what happened is the Packers made an awful bet. They thought Aaron Rodgers was on the downward slope of his career, that his MVP days were past, that maybe he had a year or so left as their starting quarterback, and then they were going to move on with Jordan Love. And then what did Aaron Rodgers do? He went out and had, at the age of 37 years old, potentially the best season that he has ever had as a quarterback in the history of his NFL career. And as a result, the Packers suddenly were caught in a really difficult position because they have the future of the Packers that they've already drafted, but what sense does it make to do what they are now going to have to do if Aaron Rodgers were coming back, which is have a first-round quarterback who didn't play in the first year, probably would not play in the second year, and maybe also may not play in the third year. It's a totally wasted pick because the reason why you want a young quarterback is to take advantage of his rookie deal when the first 4 years he cost way less than a big-time starting quarterback would cost in the NFL. That's how the Rams got to the Super Bowl. That's how the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. That's how Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs got there. Dak Prescott didn't get there, but that's where they had a huge advantage over the years. Young quarterbacks, that's how Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl. Young quarterbacks, if you can start them from day one or early in their contracts, they cost so little that you get a tremendous value for them. What the Packers did was draft a young quarterback, not play him now, and all of the value of having that young quarterback is potentially going to evaporate while the Packers still have him. So I think the Jordan Love era is basically over. I think the only way that Green Bay is going to be able to keep Aaron Rodgers is if they trade away Jordan Love. Now, I don't know if it would work because Matt Ryan's 36, but if I were the Packers, I'd get on the phone given the reports that 32-year-old Julio Jones might be on the market. I would get on the phone and say, hey, would you trade us Julio Jones for Jordan Love? Because in one fell swoop, you could try to win back Aaron Rodgers by getting rid of his potential replacement and bringing in a big-time wide receiver, the best receiver in terms of his career that Aaron Rodgers would have ever thrown to. I know Devontae Adams is really good, still relatively young. Julio Jones would be the most accomplished wide receiver career-wise that Aaron Rodgers has ever been able to throw to. And I think that would be an incredible combination to think about. Now, I'm not sure the Falcons would do it, but I would make that call and try to make it happen. If Aaron Rodgers can't be won back, though, then the Packers don't have any other option other than to trade him because reports are, and this is wild, that Aaron Rodgers would be fine going and hosting Jeopardy and basically disappearing from the NFL. He's already won a Super Bowl. He's already a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He's already made over $100 million in his career with ease. He's a single guy with no kids. What does Aaron Rodgers need at this point other than freedom? And so if he wanted to go host Jeopardy, he could afford, he'd get paid a ton of money, by the way, to host Jeopardy. He could afford to pay back whatever money he owed in signing bonus to the Green Bay Packers, and he could basically call their bluff. This is a little bit different. I'm going to talk about Deshaun Watson in a while. It was a little bit different than Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson's 25 years old and still building his career. Aaron Rodgers has built his career. I'm not sure that he feels like he has anything left to accomplish. He may not want to retire, But there's nothing that Aaron Rodgers really can do, in my opinion. Some of you may disagree, but there's nothing that I think I can see Aaron Rodgers do that's going to change my opinion of Aaron Rodgers at this point in time. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. I guess if you got a second Super Bowl, it puts him in a little bit more of an illustrious camp because there are relatively few guys that have ever gotten 2 Super Bowls. But in the grand scheme of things, he's already accomplished so much. I don't think there's some massive brass ring out there for Aaron Rodgers to grasp. I think that it would have been hard. This is before Deshaun Watson had the 22 sexual assault lawsuits. I think it would have been hard for Deshaun Watson to sit out. I don't think it's hard for Aaron Rodgers to sit out. And ultimately, what I believe is you have to analyze all of the teams out there. And if you do, I don't think there are that many teams that are in the mix to potentially grab Aaron Rodgers. Because I talked about this coming into the draft. The Bears were in the market for a quarterback. They went and got Justin Fields. The New England Patriots were in the market for a quarterback. They went and got Mac Jones. The Steelers aren't really needing a quarterback right now because Ben Roethlisberger is still starting this year. Maybe Washington is in the market. I really only see 2 teams where it makes sense, leaving aside the Texans, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But to me, really Washington, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is a good quarterback, but I don't think that Ron Rivera thinks, we're going to win a championship with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Really Washington, and more importantly Denver, are the only 2 teams that really are in the quarterback market now. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in Denver. Why do I think that? Because the Broncos gave you a major sign that they were interested in pursuing Aaron Rodgers and were already doing it when they chose not to take Justin Fields and when they chose not to take Mac Jones. Sitting there at number 9, the Broncos went cornerback and grabbed Patrick Surtain, great player out of Alabama. But if they had truly been in the market for quarterbacks, they're sitting there with Drew Lock and also with Teddy Bridgewater. Those 2 guys combined cost you almost nothing. So with those 2 guys sitting there, it's a no-brainer that Aaron Rodgers is who the Broncos are going after. And if you told me right now, who do you think Aaron Rodgers takes his first snap for if he plays in 2021? I would put my money down on the Broncos. I think that Aaron Rodgers is headed to the Broncos. And I think they're going to sell him on, you can finish your career just like Peyton Manning did. Peyton Manning came here, played with us for 4 years, went to 2 Super Bowls, was in the playoffs every year. And if you come here, Aaron Rodgers, we will get you a second Super Bowl. You might be able to finish your career with a Super Bowl win, cinematic style, just like John Elway did and just like Peyton Manning did. And if you think about it, it makes sense for the Packers to get Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC. You ship him out to the AFC. You make him go twice a year head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes, twice a year head-to-head with Justin Herbert, obviously one of, if not the most exciting young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And you give Aaron Rodgers an opportunity with a good defense and a good defensive head coach in Vic Fangio, a lot of good young talent on that Denver Bronco team. Imagine what Jerry Jeudy could do with Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. I just think it is a no-brainer for the Broncos, and I think Aaron Rodgers has painted the Packers into a corner, and they don't have a very good option in this situation. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers went public in the way he did, if the Broncos came to me and said, hey, Clay, what could we do to try to avoid losing Aaron Rodgers? I think the only option they have is to throw themselves at the mercy of Aaron Rodgers and trade away Jordan Love and also try and go get Julio Jones and make aggressive moves on the offensive side of the ball such that Aaron Rodgers isn't willing to demand a trade. That's it. And in general, that's the only possibility I think that's left for the Packers.